A lot of discussion about the leaderboards and Scourges, and it gets worse and worse. Not only do we have Scourges not working correctly, and they patched it, and a lot of people were able to take advantage of it, but we've got more not working. What's up, Ram and Dorky Dad? How's it going today?
I'm good, bud. I'm just trying to figure out all these things that aren't working and verifying them, just to make sure we can get the information out there accurately.
All right,
Yeah.
Dorky, what's going on with these three particular Scourges right now?
Well, it seems that they're simply not working, but they are giving you the multiplier on your score, essentially.
Yeah, so this is currently happening in-game right now, and it looks like it's affecting when a player character gives ability energy. That's working really wonky. We've tested that. Basically, if it's a passive, it won't apply, but if it's an active ability, for example, Beast has a passive, but he also has got his ultimate ability. So if it triggers through the passive, it doesn't work. But if you use the ultimate, it does work. And then also on ally death, enemies gain defense up. That just doesn't happen. On enemy death, enemies gain immunity regeneration. That just doesn't happen. And then down here, on enemy death, clear all negative effects from enemies. It just doesn't work. So Rem, what do you think they got to do about this? I mean, is this just like we let everybody know and the leaderboards are screwed, or you think they're going to patch this because they know about it, right?
Well, I mean, they've been made aware recently, but the problem with this is it's had an impact on the top of the leaderboards and everywhere. As the word got out, today, yesterday, that these were able to be used, people were obviously using them to their advantage. And more importantly, there's people that probably were using them and not even realizing they were gaining advantage from them. The only way to really push to up on some of these, like some of the lower levels, was to stack yourself on like difficulty 4 and stack a whole bunch of Scourges. You may not even realize that these things weren't working.
Yeah, and so Dorky, you've made a bunch of different runs, and like you said, you probably wouldn't have noticed that these weren't working or were working until Subarmari brought out. So what is the difference in your mind of something like this that can happen in normal gameplay versus like somebody that's like blatantly hacking the game?
Well, so I have a kind of a skewed perspective because I'm right at the top, right? And what me and all these people who are like the top 10, top 20 did is we maxed out our potential. We hit as many Scourges as we could do. We're pushing against each other, so we have to start adding
you see that? Nothing happened. You saw that right there, right? Gamora died. Nothing happened. None of the defense app happened. Didn't clear negative effects. They didn't get immunity. Nothing happened right there. That was really wonky, right? So those Scourges are just not working. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, we're pushing against each other. We have to start adding these in. They seem game breaking. When you kill an enemy and they gain defense up and they gain regens at the higher levels at 8, when you're giving them extra life, these things they're so difficult. We've been avoiding them. Well, now people have thrown them on. They've locked in their score. They can't hotfix this now. Otherwise, you've basically locked in the people at the top 10. They're gonna stay there because you're not going to be able to do these Scourges when they're active.
Right. And so how is this different from Ram? How is this different from like somebody like actually downloading an APK file and giving themselves like unlimited damage and or like no immunity from damage?
Well, I mean, this is easy. This one could easily have been done accidentally, right? There's people that had no idea they were doing this. At some point, they could have just been interacting with it and realizing that they weren't getting any advantage. It was probably 2 days in, and it's the first time that people are saying, wait a minute, that didn't clear any negative effects, right? So again, it could be done unintentionally. You can't download a modified APK unintentionally.
Correct. And so this kind of goes back to, and there was a lot of controversy over the Scourge Tech event, right? Where people were doing double donations at server reset, and what did Scopely do? Dorky, what did Scopely do, Dorky Dad, to the people that did that?
They did nothing.
Then
they gave us 2 orbs or something like that. So
yeah, and so that's the problem is Scopely has kind of drawn a line in the sand and said when it comes to these normal gameplay interactions, like what we're talking about is in the game, and even though I consider it an exploit or cheating or something like that, especially the double donations, they've basically said, we don't have a way of policing intent and we don't have the time to do it. And so they just called it an issue and let it go. Do you think that's right, Rem?
I mean, they have to address something like this because this is what we're talking about, the integrity of leaderboards. that, when stuff like this happens, the reason why we're making this video is to make sure that everybody has the same advantage that anybody who knows about this does, right? Making sure that it's not just the Reddit community that knows that this is happening. It's, we're reaching the YouTube audience. We want to make sure that this is something that, unfortunately, the cat's out of the bag. They really can't fix it, right?
Right. Well, and this has already happened once in the event, right, Dorky Dad? There was, on the first day of the event, there was this 30% HP Scourge glitch. So if you had that 30% HP Scourge turned on and you sent a burner team in, you went back into battle and they had 30% less health. And then if you went in again and again and again, and here's a screenshot of what that actually looks like, right?
Burner character. You can run it
burner character, a single character, right? And you'd start off the match, and what they did was they didn't say anything to the community publicly at all. Scopely said nothing. They patched it, and anybody that did this intentionally or unintentionally, nothing was cleared, right? And people got unfair gain. Now, do you think that really mattered, or do you think, Dorky, that this issue with these new Scourges not working correctly is a bigger deal?
I think it's a bigger deal now, only because we're later in the event. People are more familiar with the nodes. They're pushing more. At the first day, it was very few who were doing that 30% trick. And honestly, once you play the Scourge mode enough, you get more familiar with the nodes, more familiar with the teams you want to use, that you're going to score higher than people who were just putting that one on. Because there's a lot of Scourges you can add that aren't going to change much. So I think that's less a deal. This new one with these 3, this is really big, because this is like 24 or so multiplier points, which is huge.
Yeah, and so Ram, what do you think is the solution to this? What do you think that Scopely needs to do? How are they going to fix this? Do you think that they just publicly disclose the ones that are not working and let everybody do it? Do you reset the Leaderboards? Do you think they stealth fix this, and whoever in this narrow window understood this was opening got an advantage and they win the event? What do you think the solution is? I mean, it's a cluster. You know what? If you mind what I say, it really is.
The easiest way to do it is be like, just make a post, through the social medias and all their normal ways of getting information out, and just, maybe even on the login game when you go into like launch the Scourge, or even automatically enable the ones that are already broken somehow, right? The problem with that is that it needs to be taken away as a competitive advantage. So either everybody has to do it and make sure everybody's aware that they can do it, or expand the prizes throughout the leaderboards, which they've already shown that they're not really willing to do, right? To change the leaderboard payout system after it's already in game. So I mean, if they they can establish like what impact it had on the leaderboards, then they can expand it and then let everybody just take some time to figure out where they want to land. Because it's gonna, what's gonna happen is with these 3, people are making new runs, people are gonna be shifting in the top. As more people find out about this, you're going to see more people making more runs. So what score you think you had, you no longer have. And I think Scopely has to react by making everybody aware, or changing the way the payout works in the leaderboard.
Yeah, and what about the people that already spent a bunch of time and their time is completely wasted? I mean, what do you think about that, Dorky? Like, people that have good runs, are going to have to redo this, and maybe they patch it, maybe they don't. Can they fix this? I mean, is this beyond repair at this point?
If they fix it, they're screwing everyone over. I did 300 or 400 resets on Node 5 to get my best score. I'm now on Node 5 again with these new 3 equipped. I have to rerun my thing because I'm trying to get that top 50 spot. So yes, my time was completely wasted. Since this adds no difficulty, I've already done these Scourges that I'm redoing right now. So I killed my time before doing all those resets for nothing. They can't, they just can't fix these and then say, okay, everybody else from here on out, you have to do this legitly. They can't.
Yeah, then they've actually stripped away the power to even play catch up. And again, the thing about it is we may not, let's say 500 people, knew about it or didn't know about it, but had those Scourges enabled, right? I think it's a lot more than that potentially, depending throughout the, to get that 400K or 500K score, people were enabling several Scourges in lower levels just to make sure they were able to cross that threshold. So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, and I'm going to use this word, and it's kind of funny. This is very discouraging. Scourging, right? Anyways, this is very discouraging because here's the thing. This is a well thought out event. That we're introduced a new challenge. It seems to be largely successful. Also, The number of players, that are getting a legendary the first time around, like let's say in the last year, I'm not talking about Iron Man. This is very high, right? A lot. The reward structure was actually pretty fair to a large percentage of the player base, and then I think what's discouraging is two things. We've got the cheaters and the APK hackers, which I don't know is preventable, but in my opinion, this is the big fail. This was completely preventable, right? I mean, this is literally just straight up incompetence and destroyed the whole point of trying hard to get. This is on them, right? Really, this is on them. This should have been tested. It should have been vetted. It should work. I mean, and otherwise we're wasting our time. They're not respecting our time, and the leaderboards are all screwed up anyways. I don't know. It's discouraging, right? What do you think about all that, Dorky?
Yeah, I think if we had more than a day and a half to actually test this when they gave it to us, we probably could have found some of these things along the way. But it also shouldn't be on us to find it for them. Because it's a coding issue, right? That's what it comes down to. And that's something that they just can't have that be a problem.
It's not on us to find these issues either. I mean, they literally said, hey, in 3 hours, you're going to have a 2-day window over the weekend to look on this. A lot of people didn't even notice the message until it was over. It's like, I had plans, you know what I mean? Like that was my weekend, right? And they gave us 3 days notice. I was streaming when the notification came in, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, I can't even go do this right now. And, I didn't even get into the Scourges. I didn't have time, right? I just literally just played the event. I was trying to understand the event, and some people got into the Scourges, but it's not on us to find this stuff. I mean, it's on them, right? What do you think, Rem?
I mean, yeah, obviously we tested as much as we could. I thought these were working in the beta testing, but I was just enabling them all, just kind of going through and checking everything that I could to kind of get an idea. But at the end of the day, it's not what I was there for. I was just making sure that overall functionality was fun and give my feedback on it. At the same point in time, we were not paid quality assurance testers,
correct?
Right? What do they really expect us to find? And so it comes down to the real bottom line here is these leaderboards, and until they get back together and figure these things out, are going to be skewed, and they have to figure out how to make sure it's fair to everybody. And in the effort of fairness, we're making sure people are aware that these are happening, and make sure that the ball's in your court, Scopely.
Yeah, I mean, in events in the past, you as long as you met the entrance requirements, right? You went in, you played against the computer. You weren't competing against other people directly for your rewards. You either got them or you didn't, right? I mean, like in the other legendary events. I mean, you weren't your net rewards weren't being pushed down by people placing better than you. Either they're doing it legitimately or illegitimately, right? Which we don't know now.
Yeah.
Well,
that's very different. It's a very different way of releasing a character.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't hate it. I just think that there's just no degree of confidence. I built this team up to 5 stars. I'm getting a 5-star character, and I think that's the problem that where a lot of people are trying to associate with this. So the problem again is, as long as there's a way to manipulate these leaderboards in an advantage by cheating, through numerous ways, or by accidentally having a couple of issues, then unfortunately the fairness doesn't do anything. And I don't think that Scopely can fix this or should fix this to negate the runs that people are having to redo now, and make sure that nobody else is able to get a run that's even close to what these people are able to do with these.
Right. How long did it take for you to get that optimal run, Dorky? That one run?
Okay.
It was over the course of a day. It was probably around 6 hours. It was
so you basically to get the score that you have currently took you 6 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
And that's basically negated by this issue potentially.
Mobile.
I'm rerunning it right now. It's all over again.
You have no idea, mobile. It takes 30 minutes minimum to get RNG on some of the last nodes to try to get so that Proxima doesn't score offense down on the right characters, so that you can use your Dark Hunters as a stat. I mean, it's pretty insane what the time that happens for these ideal runs.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm discouraged, and I hate that for to be a dad joke, but it's just like this has been because the event on paper looks great, except for this leaderboard issue. I don't think, I think it was a well thought out event, and I hate to say, Rem, that we told them about this. Like we said, I mean, how long have we been talking about this? We started talking about this in end of February, early March. If only we made one more video. No, I just like
at the end of the day, you know, I left the game because I wanted to shine a light on this, and I came back because I wanted to be part of the solution here. And you know, this is why we're making this video. So
yeah. All right, well, we're going to leave it there. So that is that. Hopefully you're having fun playing the event. I don't even know if I want to play the event. I just want to get my do the minimum amount of work to get a six yellow, 6-star, and that's it. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine spending 6 hours to have all that time negated by something like this. It sounds atrocious. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming.